Greetings, everyone. I'm What Hamster, and let's do something a little different. As you can see here, once we've created a character, when we go in on it, we can either select the village, which is single player, or the city, which is multiplayer. While this isn't so much of a tutorial as it's a sort of guide around the multiplayer town, just showing it off. Because once I start the multiplayer, I won't really have too much time to look around town. I mean, I will show off when NPCs say something new and interesting, but for the most part, it's not too, there won't be too much looking around town. It will be fairly cut and dry. So once you've done this, if you do not have a handle ID, which is basically your friends list, I can choose any character to use any friends list I want. These are just actually ones I never use. So you can feel free to add me if you want, but this is only on the European servers, and you're not going to find me on any of these just because, well, I don't use any of them. So let's just choose the one I don't use at all, which is all of these three. Now, you may say, well, why did I show this part? Why didn't I cut it out? Well, because I kind of want to explain how the server system works. It's a little weird and funky. There's a lot of lost opportunities with the server system, but I'll get into that in more detail when we check it out. So, we select the server types we want. And as you can see, I can choose between there's 4 servers in each server type. So there's Rookie, Hunter's rank 30 or below, High rank, which is the Expert, 31 and higher. There's Recruiting, which most people play in. Rookie and Expert only has 2 servers, while Open and Recruiting has 4 each. For now, I only have access to the Rookies. I don't have access to Expert with this new character, so let's go in on Rookies. Recruiting is probably the best place to find people. I do believe you do get some different options when making your games, depending on the server type you pick, but recruiting is generally just a free-for-all, like you open it up. I did choose basically it's in the middle of the morning, nobody's on in the European server, so that's why it's really empty. And this is basically the perfect time to do it, because no one will come and interrupt me. So after you've done that, they've split the servers into sub-servers, and then you choose that you want to go into it. It's kind of a weird way to do it. But for now, we shall enjoy this video. And I bid you welcome to the city of Lochlac. Well, once we get to the loading screen. Now, as I was mentioning before, the server system, it's a bit of a lost opportunity. This area right here is sort of like the hub. You can't see other people, but other people who are kind of like just in the hub where they really haven't chosen the game, like, in theory, 200 people can sit and chat with each other here, but you can't see each other, which is kind of weird. But I suppose the Wii can only handle showing so many characters running around doing stuff. And you can talk to NPCs. Some of them will say different things depending on the progress of the game that you've gotten. So, well, let's take a talk to, a little chat with the different NPCs. As mentioned, this will basically be a little exploration city thing. I'll be exploring the city in case you don't really care for seeing how the multiplayer city works. Like, you already know the inner workings of it. May not be too interesting to you, or you may just not be interested in, seeing tutorial stuff, and you just want to see me go out and kill monsters right off the bat. Well, that's fine. These videos will, after all, be marked of what kind of video they are, so people can see if they want to see it or not. I do try to be accommodating. So they'll give us a little local chit-chat. The felines here will be our guides to Lok Lak. They'll give us information. And here he explains about the group boards. And as he mentioned, if you're on a recruiting server, you can get a few different options of what you can search for. And there's nothing wrong with talking to the locals. Getting a little flavor text never hurts. I always enjoy reading the flavor text in video games. So this counter lady here will, well, if you're looking to do arena matches, which is the previous game's training missions, well, this is the lady to talk to if people are basically looking for arena fights only. So when people make a game, well, since there's no people on the server at all, there will be no, she can't find arena matches, basically. But if people have them up and running and have room, well, you can use her to join their game, providing, that they have room for you. Don't really use her all too often, but that's just because I don't really focus on the arena. And here he explains about how the server system works, only in game terms. So, what we're in right now is a gate. And where you saw that all the servers were sort of split up into sections, that was sort of the gates we could choose between. They were, in fact, also labeled as gates. So basically, it's gate, well, it's server, gate, and city, basically. So they really do split it up in a really strange way. But again, I think it has more to do with like the limitations of how much you can actually show on screen. Like they can't. It's not designed to be an MMO, so you can't have hundreds of people on screen at once. But I would have liked to have at least seen maybe 10 or 15 people in the screen at once, just, hanging out in town, taking missions, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, well, it does seem like they designed, though, the actual city part of the game to have more than 4 people. But I'll get into that later. This guy here, if there's anything special going on in town, any special sales, any special events, this will be the guy to talk to. You can see a listing of all the different things. As you can see, one of the merchants had half price right now. And they'll usually just have their regular post, and if there's anything special going on, there'll be a special post. And there's always event quests going on, and arena quests going on, but every so often they will switch them up a bit. There'll be different ones available roughly every half a week to a week. So this is a quick way of quickly checking to see if there's something you want. And this is a search function. If I wanted to search for people who were playing the game casually, I could use that to just, quickly find games. And before we get it too far, we can see that we have a second tab, or not a second tab, but an extra tab, a online tab. If you don't have a keyboard to write things, you can do these quick shoutouts. You can also edit them if you want, but these are very handy so you can give quick orders or acknowledge things really quickly. You can customize them to your own language, or you can just keep them the way they are. But they are very handy. They're quick to pick out and just use. For now, I'm going to be very childish. And, yeah. And now I could just spam out dongs, because I did a little editing. And if we wanted to take a look at our log, we can take a look at there. We can also compose letters to people, just out of their name in the chat text. We can also block them if we don't want to listen to them. Coming to our, speaking of letters, we do have a messages section. But before we check that out, I just wanted to show quickly, you can actually just write regularly in the chat, but since I don't have a keyboard hooked up at the moment, I'm not going to do that. Writing letters to people is kind of a pain, since you need to either have them on your friends list, or you need to have their Wii ID, which is, as you saw, you choose your friends list that you want on, that's your ID that you have to send to people. That's one thing that Nintendo doesn't do too well. And as you can see, there would be the ID if I were to send a letter to myself. And I can give myself titles. I will, of course, eventually get new and more titles as, I progress. I can also set a status indicator, which is always very handy. But for now, I think I'll just say I'm playing solo, or busy. Something like that. That'd be handy. If I block people, I could probably unblock them with that. Never blocked someone before. You can also set a couple of extra options there. The only downside is there is no guild card in this game. In the previous two games, you did have a guild card. In this game, I'm not sure why they didn't add the guild card. I do really love the guild card. But, oh well. Can't have everything. For now, let's check out. So, cities, there can be only 4 people, which is why I say it's kind of a lost opportunity to have more people just chilling out in town and enjoying themselves. When you're making a city, you can say, I want to do these things. Let's go do these things, and you can sort of find people. So if you wanna make a game where everybody's playing casually, taking their time, enjoying themselves, you can do that. Though it's not always people that people will usually be impatient, just want to kill big monsters, even though you just want to maybe sit in town and chill a little, talk a little, that sort of thing. But I suppose that'd be more hunting and chatting. And welcome to the town. And do apologize the noise in the background the dogs is making. And the Locklack guide will explain a little bit about here. Well, a little bit about the town. Give you a little orientation. So he'll tell you where the inn is, the trading posts, and you know, where you can get money, the tavern is, and where the foundry is, or the workshop. Yeah. So, you know, he'll basically tell me about a couple of the things. But unfortunately, until you've registered as a hunter near the tavern, you don't have access to too many things. But for now, we can check out a couple of things. This is the trading post. This thing is a little unique. From time to time, the NPCs, what they have for sale, will switch up, especially the trading post. And you don't trade with money, but as she mentions, you trade with items. We'll take a look at that. I do believe, though, the items that she has for sale changes with the arena and event quests. Not too sure. So, as you can see, if I had Bird Wyvern Fangs or Sharpened Fangs, I could trade one of those in for 10 blue mushrooms or something like that. It's very handy. You can even trade in arena tokens for items. Though, personally, I wouldn't trade in my arena tokens. I guess if I didn't need them. She doesn't have very much for sale this time, not very good things for sale either, but, you know, it's actually pretty handy. Sometimes what she has for sale is brilliant, and you'll want to abuse it as much as you can. This guy here works like the regular merchant. He will take money and give you items. Material fests are really when you want to catch him, because everything's half sale, and I do believe he sells everything he can possibly sell. Every so often his list of items will switch up a little bit, but for the most part, as you can see, it is a lot of raw items. Some fish, some bugs, and some plants. Mushrooms too, you know, that sort of thing, so you can make your items. The alchemist here, as mentioned before, he can, for a fee, he can combine things for 100% success rate. This is handy if you do not have the combo books. But we can't really look at him just quite yet because, as he'll mention in a little bit, that we don't have our hunter's license. So, well, this is a service only for hunters. So, he's telling me to head to the tavern.
Yeah.
But, speaking of local people to talk about, or, well, talk to, yeah. It's always nice to meet and greet new people. Her monster compendium. Sounds important. Well, it seems like she aspires and has big dreams. Unfortunately, I do believe that where she'd want to be is Monster Hunter Frontier, if she wanted that. And this man here is basically the tool shop. He will be selling supplies like bombs, tools, basic things like that. Honestly, the best thing that he can sell, in my opinion, is bomb materials, so you can make paintballs, sonic bombs, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, that only happens when he has special, special sales or special events going on. Fortunately, he does not have access to them this time. This here is the furniture crafter, the interior diviner. Get the joke? Instead of interior designer? Anyway. Since I'm not a hunter, he will not really talk to me. He'll tell me to go get registered. Because when I'm not registered, I do not have a house to put furniture in, so it wouldn't really matter anyways. And yeah, you can see a little airship here that we've probably seen floating about in previous games. Perhaps not that type of airship, but nonetheless. They observe the areas for wyverns and check out their movements, just to see if they'll be coming in any danger, contact with people or not. This guy, though, here, he's a bit of a jerk. And I'll let you read. Looks like he was an instructor once. And now he's rich because he has a brewery. Though I do believe he's probably over-exaggerating a little. And as you can see, he's not a very nice guy. He's a bit of a jerk. And as an insult, he gives us 1 zenny. And apparently, the cola he makes is brewed with meat. Raw meat. That can't be healthy. Sounds kind of disgusting, too. That's a good question. Is there actually drinks that exists in the real world that is actually brewed with meat? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it's done that way somewhere. I think you'd have more luck brewing it with a well-done steak, perhaps. But, oh well. And, yeah. For now, let's talk to the Guildmaster. He will register us, and whenever we talk to him, we can also get a terrible haiku with some advice. That's his gimmick. He writes haikus and throws them away. But that is actually his sitting animation, his idle animation, if you will. Crazy old codger who writes haikus. Oh well. He'll be explaining a little bit about how multiplayer works. We have something called Hunter's Ranks, and we also need to up our Hunter rank to get better missions. So, it's kind of like an EXP and leveling system, only it just shows us what missions we can take, since all of our gear, or I should say all of our power comes from our gear and not actual levels. And he's explaining a little bit about how you join and sign up for quests. Basically, that big board that you can see right next to us, if somebody started a quest, you can check out and see what they're doing. And the blue lady here that I didn't mean to talk to just yet is the arena clerk. If you feel like doing an arena mission or a training mission from the previous games, you'll know them as, then you can talk to her and do them. You can have a buddy and that can tag along with you, and you can have some fun. Unfortunately, it is only 1 to 2 man fights. It would be nice if there was 4-man arena fights. I have not seen any yet if there is. But as you can see, we have access to quite a few, but some of them require higher hunter rank. So can't do them all just yet. This here, like in the town, is the quest receptionist. She will give you all of your quest needs. Now, about multiplayer quests. Normal rank multiplayer quests are fairly much literally the same as the single player quests. So until I get into high rank, there will be nothing new, so I won't be doing anything too interesting, and I quickly just showed off there a moment ago about the event missions. Those will pop up every so often, come and go, they'll be switched out. They'll give some pretty neat rewards. I'll be doing some of them, well, the more neater versions of the arena. Not the arena, I'm sorry. The event quests. This lady here is the guild store clerk. It's a good place to stock up on potions and ammo, even combo books if you don't already have them. Alternatively, you can complete single player and go directly into multiplayer and have a bit of an advantage. But now that we're registered, we can go talk to a few people more. He will basically give us the same spiel that he spoke of before, what he can do. He'll also explain about combination jars. I don't find this NPC too terribly useful, to be honest. Early on, he could be nice to help you with making traps that have a low success rate, unless you have all the combo books, which you really don't have in the very beginning of the game. As you can see, everything you have on your combo book, of combinations that you figured out, you can just have it make for you. Combo jars is something a little different. You don't need all of the different items. You can say, I can take 5 bitter bugs, or 3 bitter bugs actually, and put in the list. And as long as I put 3 of any of these items in the list on the side, there's a chance I will either get garbage or one of the 3 items. The 3 items are very good items, but I never feel it's worth it, since you still have to wait X amount of quests before you can go pick up your item. I prefer to make the items myself, is what I guess what I'm trying to say. And now that we also have access to the furniture merchant, well, we can give him a chat. So there's actually quite a few pieces of furniture in this game. I will explain it, the rooms when I get to it, but there's actually a lot of room for furniture pieces eventually. For now, we only have access to crafts. As we get further in the game, we will have access to more furniture types. And as you can see, to get him to make furniture, it requires items. And as you can see, there was a list of, it's like from this percent to that percent. So it's a chance that you can get like 20% progress. Once you hit 100% progress, you will get a furniture. You can also check what furniture pieces you've gotten before. And basically, I think there's an achievement for getting all of the furniture types. For now, we're looking at the workshop. This is basically the blacksmith, basically. You can buy and make all of your armor and weapons here. There's also a box over there, which you can mess around with your inventory and equipment. One thing to note is you cannot see other players in here, but that's more perhaps a thing where they don't want you to just... Well, they don't want players to see each other buying gear or something. Perhaps like a server issue thing that they got around. But we can buy, create gear, that sort of thing. It's not that big of an issue. Though that you can't see other players here. It's just something you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, there was a box. It works pretty much like the box inside your home. And if you need some items from your item box before a mission, you can quickly grab some of the box there. Before heading out. It's very handy. And welcome to the housing section. The mansion there, we don't have access to, unfortunately. Neither do we have access to the houses there. Where are our houses, then? Could they be the tents? Oh. Perhaps it's the shack. It is indeed the shack. We're kind of low rank aside, so we don't actually get a decent house. We'll take a look at the living conditions in a bit. For now, let's get to know some people. If you don't already have a pig and you just started up multiplayer, you can get yourself a pig here. They'll give you some various tips on the game. This guy, the Dauntless Hunter, actually gives you a good tip about transporting missions. And this is actually only really a tip that you can use in multiplayer. But it's kind of handy to know, but usually it's just quicker for everybody to grab an egg and head out. For now, this guy wants to talk to me. If I talked to him earlier, he would tell me to go register. But now that I've registered, he will actually give me a house. Excellent. Well, for now, we have access to level 1 housing. Congratulations, me.
Yeah.
This place has shared toilets.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And, this is a very ratty place. It's not very nice. And I accidentally left the area before I wanted to, so let's go back in. And, I got my pig back. If you got your pig from single player, you will have all the costumes from single player, and you will it'll be the same pig. It'll have the same name and everything. And the cat here, it pretty much serves the same functions. Since now that we got multiple rooms, we got our room in the single player, and we got our room here in multiplayer. We can now place and remove furniture in all of our homes. Mainly just removing furniture in our other rooms. We can also open and close it or put a password this room to the public so they can, I guess, come in and look at our furniture. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's this? We have a another guest staying here. The Timid Hunter. He's a bit of a washout. He is quite timid indeed. And as we'll learn in a bit, he's been in this rat motel for a long time, or a Roche motel, or as he calls it, a Bahabru motel. He's been here for quite a long time. In fact, he's been here for longer than anyone else has, because he's been defeated by a Kuropeko, whatever that is. Sounds probably not very dangerous. He seems a little paranoid of the creature, though.
Yeah.
Perhaps he should take his chill pills. So, now, because he's defeated by Kuropeko, he's shamed, and now he's just staying in here. We can save our progress if we want. That's only useful if you do some things in town and you plan on quitting the game. The game will automatically save after every mission. Here, on this barrel, you can arm wrestle with other players if you want. You can also sit on the benches, order a meal if you want a food buff. Things are a little different when ordering a meal, but I will get to them later, at a different time. You can also do, as before in the previous games, emotes on the bench. So we'll go through the various motions and emotes. You can do some lying down, some sleeping on the bench, and, you know, just some general fun shenanigans. Another interesting thing that you can do in this game, though, if you have a voucher, a sort of ticket, you can pay for meals for other people too, so you can have a group meal. It does afford better boosts to all the party members, but these meal tickets are only gotten in event quests as far as I know. But for now, I'll see you next time.